Let's dive into that applied materials report some more. And let's kind of go in the order of events here, Renita, because right before the number hit last night, there was that report from Reuters about they might be selling chips to China that they're not supposed to.
Yes, that's exactly how it went down. So that has the stock lower this morning. Obviously, earnings were better than expected, and we'll run through those numbers in a little bit.
Yeah, but they didn't seem like the problem, right?
No, they're definitely not the problem. As a matter of fact, let me just tell you now, adjusted earnings came in above expectations at $2.12. That was a modest decline year over year, but it was still beating the expectations that analysts set. Revenue also beat. It rose about 4% year over year to $6.72 billion. It's been a good year for the stock, up around 58% year to date into yesterday's close. Of course, it's given back some of those gains this morning, but still trading near the highs for the year. Now let's get into this entanglement in the U.S.-China semiconductor dispute, because Reuters reported yesterday, as you said, that AMAT was under investigation just as earnings were coming out for sending products to a Chinese company without the required licenses. Analysts are split on whether or not they want to pay more attention to that or earnings today, and just how much that may impact the stock. Now, while we see people like over at KeyBank raising the fiscal 2024 earnings estimates for AMAT, they currently have a sector weight rating on the stock. Needham reiterated their buy rating and maintained a $180 price target, right? JP Morgan actually raised its price target on AMAT to $170 from $165.
Unfazed.
But wait, there's more, because JP Morgan, it also raised, but analysts, they're saying that despite semiconductor and wafer equipment spending being down in 2023, AMAT is set to outpace the market. They believe that the company is well positioned to be able to see some of the gains. But we do have analysts at Susquehanna who are going against the grain. They're more pessimistic. They see a risk of earnings taking a hit of about 10% and more than 10% more than expected. And that's because they feel like demand in China is going to take a hit. It may not remain as strong this time around. Now, semiconductor advisors, they said that AMAT may face hundreds of millions of dollars in fines because of this, and if it's found to have violated the rules, we should say, because it's not a definite thing just yet. The report from Reuters says that they're still under investigation. But either way you slice it, today it's being punished for it anyway.
Sure.
Because of the way traders are trading in the pre-market.
Yeah, it seems like, if push comes to shove, even if the numbers in the outlook were okay, if it's coming from stuff they're not supposed to be selling, we got to get that clarity, right? There's another key number, though, that you mentioned at the top, which is that the top line, the revenue, still contracting on a year-over-year basis. The numbers were good because they beat expectations, but they're actually still down.
They're still down. That's by less than 0.5%.
Okay.
But still down, and worth noting, in an environment that has been pretty robust for these stocks, but it's starting to go a little bit left, as we can see this morning.
Well, that's what's been so impressive about the stock rallies and the stock market action, loving these companies, pushing them back to records, but they still have top-line contraction because so many are hoping that this is like the bottom, and we're coming out the other side, which it sounds like most analysts are hopeful that it is.
I think so. And I really don't know how this is going to shake out with the dispute happening in China, but we can look very closely to see how analysts are going to talk about it later.
Sure, and it sounds like only one really is willing to wade into that water right now. Said hundreds of millions?
Yeah, hundreds of millions of dollars in fines. That's the possibility.
Okay, all right. Fascinating. First kind of real example of some of the stringent U.S.-China trade showing up in a stock, surprisingly. Okay.
And also, it's worth noting that this is a huge region for AMAT. They have a huge operation in China, and it could be, some analysts say, it could be worse than what we initially think, just because of that relationship.
Yeah, all right. So they sent the pandas over yesterday to try and smooth things over, but it sounds like it may not work for applied materials. All right, thanks, Renita Young.